What? It's not coming up on.
It's an Apple only app.
Sorry.
So check this out. I want to show you the if I go to Equitable, this is Equitable's options for investing. What they do is they give me like 50 options, but they categorize the options not by performance, but by they have 5 balance funds. So they have an asset allocation fund. Equitable Life builds it. They have a dynamic value balance fund, Mackenzie Canadian Growth, Global Strategic Income, and Global Balance Fund. Built by Equitable, Dynamic, Mackenzie, and Invesco. These two teams are very different. At Mackenzie, they work on different floors of the building, so they don't talk to each other. So it's 5 different balance funds. Make sense? I don't want to sell 5 balance funds though. Or I have Canadian equities, foreign equities. If you have non-registered money, you don't want foreign equity. Foreign equity will pay out a foreign dividend. Dividends in Canada, a Canadian company pays dividends when they earn, a Canadian corporation pays tax, Canadian income tax, and then when they pay a Canadian dividend, they pay tax on it. So if an investor makes less than $55,000 and they get a dividend, the corporation has paid enough tax that the receiver of that dividend doesn't have to pay any tax. Because you get a gross up marked down on a dividend. But if I do foreign dividends, you pay full tax as if it's income. So if I have an RRSP or TFSA, it would make sense to do foreign investments because there's no tax anyways, or it's tax based on the registration, not based on how the money's earned. So I can look at different Canadian funds or different foreign funds. If I want to do a portfolio and just say, instead of custom building a retirement plan, I want to do everything in equity, everything in balance. I'm going to do one portfolio that you just build the best thing possible. The problem if I just do a balance fund for everybody or a growth portfolio, when you want to draw income, I don't know which bucket to draw from if it's all balance. I like to have some income, some balance, some growth. So in a good year, I can take from the growth, and a bad year, I can take from the income. But if you just own a balanced growth portfolio, you can't just sell the bonds out of this. You got to sell the whole thing. But if I can break it up, if you have enough money, if you have like $5,000, just buy one fund. You're not doing much planning. Plan on making more money. Plan on working until you die, right?
Buying more skill.
Yeah. And so here I can look at these funds. I can look at the fund code 7500, 7500, 7500, or and then different fee structures. So I can look at this one. I get paid up front. Client pays if they leave early. This one I get paid half my check up front. Client pays if I leave early. Oh no, yeah. Or here I get paid up. I don't get paid up front. So different options.
DSC when you can't use anymore though, can you?
You sure can in site funds.
Oh, okay.
And so if I want to know, for example, I like selling the Mackenzie Income Fund. This is an old page. This is their Pivotal Select. Pivotal Solutions is a new one, I think. This is the proper one.
Yeah.
75, 100, whatever it is. I can look at, for example, balance funds, they have more of them. They have a bunch of them. If they want to be environmentalists, they can buy that one, right? So I can look at this and say, okay, I got a Mackenzie Income Fund Select. This doesn't tell me anything about the performance. So I can search, I can just Google it. I can go to Mackenzie Investments. They make the investment. Buy mutual funds. So through Equitable, I can access Mackenzie. Not all of Mackenzie's funds, but a handful. At McKinsey, they can say, okay, I got different funds. And they're Canadian balanced. They have McKinsey Income Fund. So for an income fund, I sell this lots, I like it. I can show the track record. Now, today is the best time to invest in this fund because the fund is down. Because bond rates went up. If you're investing in bonds, when rates go up, it kind of creates some volatility. Because usually a 30-year bond doesn't change too much, except in 2022. But I can see a very consistent track record for 40 years, correct? It's very, this is 2008. This is 2022, very similar. And I can show you 40 years of track records right here. In fact, this is not, the year isn't finished. This was a finished year. This is year to date. But I can show you the returns over a long period of time. Since inception, it's averaged 7, but bond rates were higher in the 80s 40 years ago. So currently last 10, 15, 20 years is 3 to 4%. This is the income fund. Make sense? It's not 20%. This isn't also not long-term money. It's the next 5 years money. And I would sell like this. This is an income fund. It's a very good income fund. Year to date, they're down 10. The index is also down 10. So we're right in line with the index. There's nothing unique about it. And we can look at the index is down 7.3, a little bit different. Make sense? So that's an income fund. If I'm looking at, I want to be in a balance fund. I like this McKinsey Global Canadian Growth Balance Fund. I had dinner with the guy, not that it matters, but I like the guy who manages it. It's funny. And I can go to balance funds, and I can compare against the track record. When I show this income fund, by the way, this orange line is the average balance fund, according to Morningstar Canadian Fixed Income Balance. Every fund I show you is going to beat the average by more than a little bit. Is that fair? If you're worse than the average, we're going to switch the fund out. We're going to say that fund sucked. But if you beat the average by that much, it's good. Correct? Someone put in 10 grand 40 years ago, it'd be worth 100 grand today. 100 grand in the average balance fund, 150 grand in this balance fund. If I go to a balance fund, I can go to Canadian. And when I go back to show the client, I'll show them exactly this. I can go to Canadian Growth Balance Fund. And I can see through one recession here, they never lost money. In 2000, they never lost money. Canadians were really protected from the dot-com crash. That's why we never lost money. But the average fund didn't lose money. Then we had 2008. We didn't lose as much as the average. But over the last 5 years, Canada has been flat, but these guys have been able to make money. Because what they do is they buy American companies that buy from Canada. So still Canadian exposure, but not Canadian domicile. Domicile is where the company is actually paying tax. So the last couple of years have been wonderful. By the way, this year we're down. And the last 5, 10, 15 years is 6 to 7%. 10 years been 9.9. It's a balance fund. It's done more than an income fund. Make sense? This would be a balance fund. I would recommend. And we can see the companies it owns. It owns Stantec. It's research and consulting, like engineering. Royal Bank of Canada, Aon. And then fixed income, they own 69 companies and 900 bonds. Yeah, so they own a loan from the United States, it's gonna pay 2.38. These guys aren't gonna default on these loans. They're backed by military. Right? Province of Ontario, you get paid more for a province, you get paid more for a company.
Oh.
Then if I go back here and I say, well, I also want to be in maybe an equity fund. So if I look at a Sept dividend income fund select, I can search BISFET, BIBID income fund. I just search Google. Google takes me to the page. I can see calendar year performance, cumulative performance since inception. So I can see a 20-year track record all the way down. That make sense? And I can say this is an equity fund. The other equity fund would be the Sept Canadian Equity Fund. So if I look at BISSET, I like a longer track record. Is that fair? So very similar track record. After it goes down, it goes up. Because it's Canadian equity, mostly oil, because Canadian, no, didn't lose money this year. So we like that. If we look at annualized performance, last 1 year they've earned 6. Notice how Canadian equity is up, global equity is down, because global equity is based on oil, Canadian equity is based on oil the other way. And then if I look at here, I got another fund I like. So I only sell like 5 or 6 funds. I have a dynamic global discovery fund. So I can search the DYNAMIC. Yeah, Google will fix that. So I can see here, this guy's managed through 2 recessions. He's been managing for 25 years. This fund has been around as long. Great time to buy it. True. It's nice to point that out so you can like get them so it's out of shock. I know it dropped. If they put money in here, these are the last couple years returns. They got in 2017, 16, 4, 19, 16, 12. Year to date, halfway through the year, we're at minus 21. Because we have a 10-year track record, the minus 21 doesn't matter. What matters is the 10-year track record is 10%. Not the 1-year track record. The 1-year track record for the income fund matters. And so I would set up, or I want to set up an account. I would say, I sell dynamic value balance. Where is that? Dynamic value balance fund, just so you see the 5 funds I sell. So I've just looked at every fund, making sure they have a long track record and they're not uniquely getting destroyed when the market goes down. So we got a track record that goes back to the early 90s, 2008, they recovered. 2000 whatever, they recovered, and currently they're down a little bit. But this is a value balance fund, which means they buy stocks that are very valuable, big companies. And the 5 years, 5, so it's a balance fund. So what I would do is I would use an income fund, value balanced, balanced growth, and then equity for the rest. And you have 4 funds. Does that make sense? And this one would own TD, RBC, bank, railways, insurance company, railways, pick up your garbage. 30% is those things. They got some bond holdings. Bonds are boring. It's considered a low, medium risk. All the funds I showed you today are low to medium risk. You give me equity. The only one that's low risk is the income fund. When you go to medium and medium high, your KYC has to be adjusted. But you can look at here, foreign equity. I like global because let the manager go where he wants. The only reason I would choose, for example, Euro, is if I'm building a custom portfolio and a client says, I like this fund. If I sell this fund, then I also have to sell the American fund, the Canadian fund, the international fund. And international means non-North American. So I say, okay, we're going to buy, if you want Euro, instead of buying global, then I got to buy all the other countries to make an actual portfolio. So if you want to piece it out to say, I want to have 7 funds, each country I want their own fund so we can rebalance it. That's basically if you were to buy, you can buy, put the index in, I can buy the S&P 500. They put a filter on it to filter out environmental, social, governments. I can buy NASDAQ, or I can buy the Canadian index. So if someone says, I want to be an index investor, I can do that in a seg fund. Only 75% guarantees because Equitable doesn't want to guarantee stuff that they don't manage. Should be a sign. Right? And they don't want to put guarantees on it. They don't actually choose the investments. But if someone wants it, why not sell it? Any questions? That's how I sell investments. I'll move $250,000 this month. I'll probably go find another $250,000 next month. If you move 100 grand right now, it pays you 7,000 points. So when I showed this to someone, there'll be 10,000 points coming out of that. It's a different sale than think about when you die and your kids. You want to buy life insurance. Broke people buy life insurance because they need to rent an estate. So if they do die, they have money. But if you have money, we need to manage that money too. And we don't want to, someone wants to manage money, we don't sell life insurance. We sell investment advice. And then we say, hey, out of this long-term money here, why don't you put some of that into insurance? You know, that 4th bucket? Why don't we take 25% of that, put it into a whole life to guarantee you have an estate? It's going to go to your family anyway. You don't need that money. Does this help kind of, I take you in the field a little bit? It's not just choosing a fund. Does that make sense? It's putting it together.
Yeah.
To say we want an income fund, a balanced fund, a growth fund, and an equity fund. If it's a retirement planning, if you're younger, maybe we do a Dave Ramsey type of solution with 425 percenters, or you have to have little concepts that you sell. Or we sell a portfolio or different, just like I do a whole life, different way to one guy. Another guy do like a term whole life combo. Another guy do a cash value whole life, or different ways to sell the same thing. But at the end of the day, you have to learn how to sell. You have to take people's money and put it in your pocket and give it back to them decades from now. If you need money, go take it from somebody and manage it. If I need money, that's what we do. Make sense? I'll say, I'll give this back to you when you die. Unless you're old, I'll give you a bunch back to you.
It's funny when you put it, but that's what it is.
That's how we give them more than we take. So, questions? Anyone online have questions? What's new? If I'm doing a retirement plan for one of your clients, you're more confident now, correct?
Yes. Yeah, because now I can follow.
Now you say, oh, it doesn't matter what fund you pick as long as you pick one of these 5 income funds. Equitable does the vetting for you.
I still remember watching you do, like my first appointment, watching you do like selling investments.
Yep.
And like, I was lost 75% of the meeting. I was just like,
But by the way, when
trying to absorb everything, but
I'm selling this, I don't say there's a seg fund. It's a 75% guarantee. So if you lose all your money, if your money goes to zero in 15 years, we'll give you 75% of what you put in. I don't say any of that garbage because that's not what they're buying. I have to listen to them what they want. They want retirement planning, income planning, we'll do income planning. If they're 40 and they say, I want to retire at age 55, but I'll make sure I don't want to lose money, then we do that type of guarantee plan. But the guarantee always costs something. It costs you focus and time. They say, do I lose the guarantee if I pull the money out? Yes, you do. Then why am I getting a guarantee? Because it's the only license I have. Buy this. Just keep your mouth shut. Right? So you screw up yourself by selling the wrong, by promoting too much weird things.
Yeah.
They say, let me tell you why it's so good. This is an investment account. It's one I'm recommending you. I don't tell them it's a segregated fund. I don't think I've ever told a client it's a segregated fund. Only people who recently passed the life exam say that kind of crap. Say it's an investment account. Segregated fund sounds like black and white people are separating rooms. Don't say that.
Listen, he's not wrong.
Would you like to have a segregated school and a segregated fund? No, don't say those words. They're triggering. Isn't that triggering?
Sorry.
Don't say it.
So what do you think that investment, what?
It's an investment account.
Hashtag too soon.
No, but it's true, right?
It's true.
They say, I got this thing, I just studied it, it's a segregated, they don't even hear you after you say that word.
Every
Shouldn't
time
you
that.
say segregated?
That's why the industry said seg fund. What's a seg fund? It's a sinking fund or something.
Literally.
September 30.
No school. She's just saying.
By the way, you can only sell investments when you find people who have investments. So talk to more people. I've been selling investments for 5 or 6 years very well. When I went full time at $1 million under management, now I'm at around 9. Pays me $50K a year. So I could retire and never work again as long as I call my clients once a year and show them, just rebalance this, sign the straight ticket. I've completed what I wanted. And it's a very passive income. If I go on holidays for a month, none of those clients call me because we automated it. All the rebalancing, you can fill out a form and it automatically does it. So when we review, I say, hey, January 1st, Dave, this is what happened. Remember, we set up the plan and Mackenzie, we auto balanced it. I don't have to do the balancing. I don't have to do 10% switches. I don't do, it's all computerized. All I got to do is make sure I have a relationship. So we're going to switch gears and Baby Lynn's going to come and explain us more information. Is that fair, Baby Lynn? Is that right? The Zoomers can see this.
Good morning, everyone. It was just funny segregated funds. Just
Segregated, whatever.
I know it was just funny because I was like filling out forms for my kids, and then they're like, "What nationality?" And it's like optional, right? It says there's like Filipino, and then there's Southeast Asian,
That's
and
what I thought when I checked those off.
Southeast Asian thing, like, and I said, and I was like telling Miguel, I was like, did you know that like Filipino? I don't understand Filipino, and then there's like Asian and Southeast Asian. I said, did you know that we're Southeast Asian? And Ryan's like, oh, are you Southeast Asian? It's like, yeah, and I don't understand where there's like Filipino, there's Southeast Asian, there's Asian. Like, but anyways. So I said, like, I think
There's only one good type.
we're the Asian that are not like Chinese origin kind of. But anyways,
What's this Taiwan check off?
sorry,
What's this Taiwan check off?
South, I don't know, Asian. Anyways, good morning, everyone. But so today, talking about how do you get referrals, how do you get prospecting, right? Prospecting and referrals. So that's actually in our system. That's really number 6. I don't know if I think that's what it is. Number 6 of our system, right? Because the lifeline of our business is actually people. Whether it be a recruit, whether it be a client, we need to meet people, right? So it's interesting, but when you meet people, and I was part of that when I just started, it's always, what do we always say? I don't want to do this business because of what? I can't talk. I don't have confidence like Daniel. I can't talk like you. I can't sell insurance. I can't do this. I can't do that, right? However, the thing that I learned is actually we are not looking, you just have to put in your mind, we're not looking for talented people. Like you may not have talent right now. When we first started, we don't have talents, right? I don't know what kind of talent you need to be in this business, but we're not looking for talented people, but we're looking for people who are willing to learn skills. That's how we get paid, right, Daniel, with skills, right? When I first started, when I met Daniel, I know he's an investment guy, like it's true, like it's, whenever he talks, Chantal, phew, like it was just it. Everybody who talks to me about investment, it's like, yes, I learned words, but it's just like, it just goes past my head. And then I attended like product provider training, it's even worse. Yeah, phew, like that. And that's how actually, like Ryan and I, it's the same thing, an accountant and finance guy, he manages but it's the same thing when he talks to me. Because I call it shoot, like Ryan, shoot, tell me the bottom line. It was like every day, that's what he showed me. Guess what, I made 2,000. He has it on his phone. But the way Daniel showed today, and every time he showed things on his walls, I understand it better,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing that you have to put in your mind when you talk to someone. You just tell them, we're actually looking for people who would like to learn to build their skills, right? Instead of like begging them and like telling them like, oh, so many things, and then you just dump a lot of like information that are not valuable to them. So what we do is really, we always call it attention. We talk about Ed Myla, right? That's what I listen to. Sometimes Ed Myla, sometimes if you like, I watch his YouTube, listen to YouTube while on my way here when I'm driving, because I need something. I don't like listening to music.
Right.
I just like to listen. So that he's one of our podcasts that I listen to, because it's now about referrals or prospecting. I listened to him actually yesterday and on my way here. So that's what he said, skills. Skills is what you need to actually, like, what you're looking for, people who would like to do this. And also, he said something about a lot of people like to be impressed first, right? But we're not talking about impressing them with a brand new car. I remember someone told me that, Dave, when you're driving like an old car, why don't you like buy a nice car? You'll get a lot of clients. I'm like, I've been here for 10 years. I still get clients with like, 2008. My graduation vehicle, my son was my graduation vehicle. I said, like, I'm really a brand new car, right? But what I learned is you need to express to impress. What I mean by that is you need to be articulate on what you say to people, right? When you meet them, you always have an intention in mind of, what do I want to get out from this appointment, right? We talk about our mission and our vision. So for me personally, that's really what I do. A mission of our company is actually educate families, help families to be financially educated, help families to actually financially independent, right? Whatever, it's the same thing, whether it's WFG, WSB, it's the same thing, helping families. And that's when your confidence comes out. If you're brand new and has nothing to say, if you want to learn a skill that you can show them to impress them, learn excerpt. Learn the excerpt, the back of our PFS. That's how I actually talk to them. My first notebook, if I can show it to you guys, my first notebook, it's all excerpt. I learned how to present excerpt all the time, because you can put their situation, because you have how I build relationship with people is I put their situation in that excerpt. When you're young and you're old, you put it there. We talk about planting seeds, right? You guys heard of that? We plant seeds when we meet people. And most of the people I meet, which is I been 10 years, and I'm gonna tell you guys my past 10 years why I'm going through this emotional thing this past 3 months, is because a lot of the people I know are broke. A lot of people I knew and I know, friends or people I hang out with at work, at home, they are broke. Poor people, we call them poor people, they have good jobs, They have nurses and engineers and stuff, but at the end of the day, you know how I build my confidence? When I sit down with them, finally sat down with my family and friends.
Honestly,
Oh, their PFS is crappy. Like,
It's an 18-year-old PFS.
it is worse than an 18-year-old. They're very happy, and the way they talk, they drive a house, like their house and their car, like this. Those people are telling me, like, "Hey, you guys can afford this. Maybe like, yeah, we can afford it, but we don't want to afford that. Like, we don't need that one. We have other priorities. I always tell them we have other priorities. Like, well, your husband in the military. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yeah, my rich husband in the military. But did you know that this rich husband thinks I'm the one who's rich? Like, because he learned so much from me, and this is true. So back to that, like why I'm talking about this as part of my referral, my how do I get recruits, how do I get clients, is because of that, because of my story. Not my story that I'm successful, because I still think that I'm not successful. But personally, I think I'm successful the last 10 years. Right? I know I talked to a few people here why I'm so emotional with that 10 years, because this is the time after the wedding that I let go of things. This is like everything that I check box on my why, my reasons why, right? Who thought of like 10 years ago, I had nothing, right? Chantal and I were talking yesterday about your experience, like why people, I said, don't worry about it, set boundaries. Actually, that's what I'm learning now. I'm actually getting counseling, just to guys, let you guys know, but I'm now into a month-to-month counseling.
nice.
Counseling of, I thought I'm crazy because I could not let go. Because I was so protective of, I don't want to be in debt, I don't want to lose money, I want to make sure that I'm protected, like peace of mind. But I have peace of mind, and then when you think you're okay, you panic. It's like, it's not.
Oh,
What's coming?
What's coming?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
like I don't as a mom, it's what's coming.
It's a
And I had to go counseling for that. It's just what's coming. And then it's just setting boundaries, Chantal. It's not that you do not care about them. You take care of yourself. Because once you have that, whoever you talk to, you may not have 100,000 right now, but you do that. You may not making 100,000 right now, but I have that in my bank account. Does that make sense? I have that in, like, I can just buy whatever, but I don't want to buy. But anyways, so one thing is create your story, build your skills. I don't have to like reiterate coming to the office, attend meetings, attend agent for curiosity. I don't have to reiterate. You guys already know that. If you guys still thinking like Daniel is not showing anything anymore, or he's just showing the same thing over and over again, don't worry. It's the same thing over and over again. Not until you hit that goal, it's the same thing over and over again. So do not change your goals. Just be flexible with how you achieve it. Be flexible with your approach, right? But anyway, so my experience, how do I get prospects, right? You guys see your clients are more than just a sale, right? So first one, build large base of multi-product using clients. Took me a while to go. I'm a mutual fund license. Took me a while to actually get to the investment side. My clients are all like, I'm really good at doing setting up pack plan. I always find money for my client, $200, $300, and I tell them, you know what, if I find money, it's mine to keep. I leave them money so they don't bother me every 2 weeks or every month or every year to like withdraw money. I always tell them, I'm giving you $100 after you pay everything, or $200. That's your money. This money is mine. This money is mine to keep. But if you're using your credit card and you know you can pay for it, call me. That's all I tell them. And they forget those investments. But anyways, that's one thing that I do. So we'll talk about keep a list of all your clients. Well, at first we start with top 25 list, right? Top 25. You remember we qualify those, right? Remember I said like someone who trained me told me maybe we find someone who's broke, but that's actually a wrong mentality. That's a wrong mentality. Find someone who actually is willing to work with you. That's one thing. So why keep all your list of all your clients? Because for me, the top 25, top 100, I already called all of them. We keep hearing, do not remove people from your list. Keep adding. So once you get your top 25 with those qualifications, add the ones that you think, like, you know what, not 25 years old, not married, keep adding them. Because some of those has the quality of I would like to learn. Okay. For me, keeping a list of all my clients. For the past, since I think I had Charlie or I had Aiden, that feeds my 3-4 years in the business. Like you guys don't see me with the team here. I have a team gone. I finally got back all my 3 licenses, just got approved. Actually, I saw it yesterday, my last one. So hopefully they're back, but I'm not holding my breath for them to start again. It's their choice. It's their choice that they left. It's their choice again to come back. One was supposed to be here. She texted me, sorry, can we meet at noon? I said, I can't. So now I set that boundaries. I used to take care of my team, and I really appreciate Daniel because he's the one who actually, like, I learned from him, do not babysit your team.
Right.
They stay. Because that's what actually, I have kids. I babysit my kid, I don't babysit my team. I can still make money. I think early on in my business, I think I appreciate how I work so hard to get the higher contract. I think that's my advantage right now because I have a higher contract that I can just make money. But the other thing too that I did was I actually apply what I learned. Every time I have money, I save it. Every time I have money, I save it. I do budgeting, but I don't do daily budgeting, right? That's why whenever I always say I do budget, but like I budget like once every 6 years, once every 6 months, or once a month. You know, I sold my condo, so I had to change my budgeting. But it's not like, oh, do I have money for groceries? Do I have money for this? It's like, no, I always have, this is my budget for this month, transfer that one in, make sure I have enough money. Like that's how I do it. So when someone asks you, how do you do it? You have an example. Does that make sense? You will be the example. I'm not good on talking to people about concepts, strategies. I'm more of like, oh, you want to know something? Here, read. Let's read together. Saving your future book, let's read together. Right? And eventually, 100 times that you read it, sometimes you don't have to. And I think that's with, I notice sometimes with Daniel or with other leaders, you actually, sometimes we forget that those basic things with a new person, we need to show them. Like what you see is what you believe. Believe what you see, something like that. Because in the beginning, I thought, oh, what a smart guy, and I attend the convention. Exactly said the same thing. I started reading the book. Oh, it's just here. So you're not making up that thing. So I that's why I said, and Daniel mentioned today that maybe we should get our team to read the book, 1 page a day. I said to William, he said, no, our team. I was like, oh, I thought you were talking about kids. Because I said, I'm going to do that to my kids because I did it to my kids. But this is how I get trained also. Every day, 5 in the morning, my CEO will call me, Babylin, we're doing a 30 minutes reading the system builder book. Just reading it. Because if we tell you to read, you're not going to do it. But let's read the book.
It's not touching.
So,
Two fingers on the mouse.
oh my goodness.
Just
2
2 fingers on
fingers.
the mouse.
It's okay. So first one, keep a list of all your clients.
Use the arrows.
Oh my God. See?
Like this. Put 2 fingers on the mouse.
I'm
and just
so
push up.
happy that I'm not the only one who reacts like
That's
that.
why I don't buy this thing.
I know.
Just two
Can you be my, oh, I hire someone who has skills.
Where's the?
Don't need to be the smartest person in the room, as long as
Anyways,
the smartest person
Why?
in the
Because
room.
your next one is your clients is a source of your referrals. You may not, I'm not like, again, I'm still learning the skills to talk to people. I'm so shy to ask, like, hey, do you know someone that does that? But I just realized that you don't need to do that. You just tell them, like, you know when your client is happy, right? You know why I know? Because as soon as I get home, they'll text me like, oh, baby, do you do these things? Remember planting seeds? Remember our campaigner orientation? Every single client, even when I do client care, I show 20 minutes of it. Because I want to let them know, hey, I don't own, and I'm not only doing insurance, I also do all these things. I said, my branding, and we talk about branding. My major is in marketing. I think this is like a little bit of my degree that I use here. Brand yourself.
Absolutely.
I want to be that to-go person of my clients, right? Brand yourself as a to-go person. They may not have the money right now, and that's why I think this is one of my skills is like, I'm very patient on actually helping my client with even with their personal stuff, because I already built a relationship. I don't work with someone I don't build relationship with. If the husband doesn't sit down with me, I tell them like, no, I wait for them to call me, I don't call them. Okay, so next one is, regular financial health checkups, because again, but I don't do every month, every week. No, that's just, I do once a year, right? Recruit your clients, because the more they believe you, the more they agree with you, the more they will actually, because eventually they will, even if you tell them budget, they can only squeeze so much now with the income stuff, which is, maybe it's good. We always hear like, recruit them first before you sell. But I find that for myself, I've been a client first before I got recruited, right? Because I'm one of those, prove it to me if you can hear me shit, right? Prove it to me. But the more they prove to me, the more. So that's why I can't blame those people who have the same mindset as me. Prove it to me, right? What do I do now?
2 fingers, yeah,
There we go.
There you go. Oh, that's.
No, just push up with your
Push
arm.
up.
So our next training will be like how Bailey will learn how to do things. I'm gonna need my book. Someone has to like do that.
Baby Lynn,
That's what I-
I'm gonna teach you because this is ridiculous. Two fingers, and you just go, you put the mouse on the screen and then just up like that. There you go. You're doing the next one, I'm
Some
not.
people will never improve, don't worry.
No, Brian always said, why do I keep
Some
buying
people
new
are not
laptops? Because
coachable.
Brian said, it's not the system, it's the user. And it's true, it's not the system, it's the user. It's not the thing, it's the user. So recruit your clients. The other one is why people don't buy, why people don't join,
Oh,
right?
I thought you said white people.
White people, why?
Those are
What time is it though? Yeah,
Girl,
2 more minutes and I'm
why we
done,
gotta
right?
bring segregation into this, huh?
Say why people don't buy. Well, 2 main reasons. Well, first, they don't understand, right? As much as you tell them, and that's why you don't dump things on them. Kind of feel your clients first, right? You can't really talk something big when they do not. Can't talk about investments if they only have like $200. You can't talk about all this big stuff when they only have that. Maybe you give them that vision. Maybe when you know their goals and dreams, that's when you can actually paint them a picture of the future, right? But in the beginning, because I've been to an appointment that the client actually, not my appointment, I was like with someone, the client was very insulted. Because when we're doing the PFS, I said, I put it here. And then my training, now from my team, they're like, why did you put it there? Why did you do that? So she was very offended. So she said, you guys are the professionals. You guys are here to help me, right? I don't want you guys saying that. And that's actually a relative of my trainee. Like, that's the reason why you guys are here. Because you guys are educating people. But you should not, like in the future, when you meet other clients, you should not say things like that. Because I was very offended. Because I did not know. I'm not like you guys, smart people like you guys. That's what she said. I'm not smart like you guys in the financial industry. That's why I got that product. I close it anyways, but which is good. That's a good client actually. Giving feedback. You need that one too. Feedback. Yeah, so that's all I wanna talk to you guys about. And then you can like read the whole thing in the system builder book. It's really not.
I have a
That's-
question for you.
yeah.
Do you get most of your clients from cold prospecting, or do you get most of your clients from building relationships with people you already know and they introduce you to new people?
So most of my clients are from the people I recruited.
And then they introduce you to new people?
Yes. So the people that I
Really?
recruited are my loyal clients because they understand the business. They try. Again, the business is not for everybody, but it's for everybody. Right? So that's what I do. We already have this exercise of like prospecting last month. This month presenting. So following up is just the normal stuff we do. Agent through curiosity, last one. Friendship market, that's what we call it. That's when you get the prospect friendship market. What do you when you ask question is, these are the questions that you should ask. Is like, what do you do? We learned it from Age of Curiosity. What do you do? How long do you have you been doing that? Because you will find out if they're dissatisfied or not. How do you like what you do? And then if they say, oh, it's okay, say you don't seem to be very excited, what exactly you don't like about your profession, things like that. Find out more. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you.
This week, you should run to get a recruit before the end of the month. I think everybody here can run 3:30 this month. This week, we get one recruit. And then next week, you and your recruit partner up and each get one more. Does that make sense?
Yep.
We're gonna run in WhatsApp a contest where we read one page per day of whatever book you want. Then we take a picture of the page and say, I'm reading a book. Most people don't read. Is that true? I don't understand why someone doesn't read. Someone spends a year writing a book and you say, no, I'm too smart for that. And most people don't, poor people don't read. I don't think there's a difference between someone who doesn't read and someone who's illiterate.
Ooh,
Oh, there's no advantage.
yeah. You're not
And so,
using a skill that you learn.
You spent 12 years in school learning one skill to read a book. That's all they taught you. You can't give me another skill they taught you, other than to stay sober and don't get pregnant. You know, that's all we learned. That's all we learned in high school. Right. 3 skills.
The middle one.
But we're gonna read a book a day. It's gonna be a new contest this week.
Okay.
And then we'll hold each other accountable. Hey, what are you reading? Hey, what are you reading?
Poetry.
You could read your Bible, you could read poetry, you could read not Facebook or any of that crap.
What about audiobooks?
No, read an actual
End of the
book.
world.
But the problem is if you're not influenced by a book, you're gonna talk to yourself or listen to a bunch of
An
losers.
audiobook is a book, just being read to you.
No, it's different in your mind.
Yeah.
Open it with
I'm
your
always
car.
No, it's true,
listening to
because I listened to the audiobook.
So by the
Yeah,
way,
I listened to the audiobook of System Builder, like from cover to cover. And then after that, I read it from cover to cover, and I was like, that